I am Jorge Vazquez Anderson. I'm a alum from the chemical engineering program, a PhD. I graduated back in 2016 with a focus on RNA engineering from the Contreras lab. After that, I've spent about 4 years with BCG as a project leader. And as a quick disclaimer, I am today doing this interview in my capacity as an alum from UT Austin. Happy and very excited about it, but not representing my current role in BCG. Basically, this was a project with one of the big automotive companies here in the US. And the idea is that we help them understand a little bit of how to go about and develop a strategy in the current changing global trade environment, right? So what I was in charge of was developing a financial model that would help us understand the impact of this changing environment on the financials of this company. And I think it was the highlight of my career because it was a topic that was very close to home in some way as an international student, right? I do care about, the relationships that the US might have and the impact that the US might have on other countries. And to me, that was, the global nature of the project was very, very interesting. So with that in mind, I could tell that very, very early on, I was already very passionate about the project. And also it happened to be right around the skill set that as a PhD you develop very quickly. And I would say there are two things here. And this is not only applicable for this specific project, but in general, I would say for almost any career, and particularly in consulting is very helpful, which is tenacity and ability to find patterns and insights in data, right? So why tenacity, right? And maybe I'm just a little bit biasing my answer on my own experience in the PhD, but at the end of the day, you base your results and the outcome of your PhD and your papers and thesis on a few experiments that actually worked out. So you need to fail a lot, right? You need to troubleshoot a lot. You need to design something, you need to develop something and then try it, understand what happened, go back to it and understand what happened. That tenacity of quote unquote failing and coming back up is needed across the board, but especially in consulting, right? When you are in such a fast-paced environment where you are prone to receive a lot of feedback from different stakeholders and you need to be open to it and you need to take it, gather it, use it, right? So from that standpoint, I think tenacity and flexibility is 100% helpful. And more importantly, which is a trait that we find across different PhD students, is the ability to find patterns in data, the ability to quickly collect insights from data. Was very helpful in this particular project because at the end of the day, I had to look at big sets of data, be very creative about how I even collected data because we didn't have it. We did not have access, interestingly, we did not have access to the data from the clients. So it was an outside-in view. And basically you needed to be creative about it, where to find it, where to go in a completely different field that had nothing to do with my PhD. And I still found a way to gather that data. And then at the end of the day, finding mechanisms and processes to quickly process it, analyze it, and come back with good insights, right? That was what was the core of the value that we ended up adding to the clients in that specific project. So the first question that I ask is who my audience is. And to give you an example, when I was preparing the one for consulting, I needed to really understand what kind of skill set they were looking for, right? So I knew they were interested, for example, in someone that would have a strong problem-solving ability. They would be interested in someone who can communicate clearly in a structured manner. They would be looking for someone that has good, strong people skills, right? And they would be looking for someone that is someone enjoyable to be around. What do I mean by that? Is what they call the airport test, right? You spend so much time with your colleagues that you need to be able to connect with them. So it's probably a little bit related to people skills in some way. The people skills can be leadership, and then the ability to connect with someone. So based on that, I was like, how do I accomplish those 4 goals? And I was like, well, complex problem solving, clearly my 6 papers or however many papers you have, that if you flip them that way, basically by saying what I solved was this complex problem, and I structure what a lot of people like sort of miss on both ends of the spectrum, employers and candidates, is that publishing a paper is in itself a pretty complex project that requires a lot of skills, right? So you just need to make sure that you position in a way that they understand, right? And to give you a clear example, if I go and tell you I develop a system to study RNA structure in vivo in living cells, nobody's gonna even understand what that is, right? So the way I put it was, I help scientists develop tools so that they can study processes in living cells that could be critical to cure diseases, right? It's a completely different way of putting this out, right? What a lot of PhDs tend to do is like they've worked so hard in their PhD that they want to put the 5 pages in there. Well, honestly, that's not going to get you anywhere. That's only going to get you to basically someone being confused about exactly what they are looking at there, right? So I would say, again, make sure that in every section there is strong points that are connecting directly to a way to prove that you actually have the skills that this job is looking for. Yeah, so the first thing that comes to mind to answer your question on for international students, how to sort of address and approach the transition from graduation to a job like mine in consulting, I would say is confidence, right? The first thing that I thought when I looked at the job description of consulting was like, I don't know that I can do this. And maybe second was, I don't even know that I fit in here, that I belong in here, right? So it all depends, right? You need to test, it's a two-way street. You need to say, okay, sounds interesting. I need to go and test and probe whether this is the type of work that I would like to do and whether I like to be surrounded by these people. And if the answer is yes, then the second point that you need to address is the parts where you feel like you don't have the skills, right? So first is to be sure and be confident that anyone that graduates from a top program in a university like this should be able to accomplish it, so long as, again, you're honest on what are the core skills that you have and what are the skills that you need to work on, right? So to me was realizing that even though I was an international student that probably was not super confident on my communication skills and my, the fact that I'm a non-native speaker, I with enough practice, I was able to get there, right? And I think that built my confidence. I was able to sit down in front of an interviewer and have a structured, good conversation, right? So I would say, think about what's your level, like, just to recap, is confidence. What's your level of confidence on your skills? Identify the gaps, work to fill them up in a realistic timeline, and then practice in order for you to do so, right?